So how do we go about doing this? Well, there's several levels of skills here. We're going to start with the first two, controlling your variables and repeating the trials in your test groups. So let's look at controlling variables. Most people get how to do this through their own experience, but we're going to actually define it and refine it as you go along. The first thing you need to do is identify anything else, any other variables that might affect what you are measuring. That's your dependent variable. What are we measuring in this example? We're measuring how much oil is going to be left. So we've already gone and identified a few things. We've identified that the amount of detergent, the heat, the scrubbing, and even the amount of oil I started with. All of those things are going to affect how much oil I'm left with after I wash with different detergents. Now, why is this so important? Well, if these variables change, then they could be the reason that you're getting less oil. So you're not really testing, is it the different type of detergent that's causing the oil to be more or less? It could be the amount that you used, or the heat, or the amount of scrubbing, or the amount of oil you put on to begin with. You're not actually investigating the question you started out with. They're going to make your test invalid. So it's really important that we know how to control them. So the next thing we have to do is add in some steps into our method that allow us to step out and describe exactly how you're going to control each one of these variables. In other words, you have to plan for how you're going to make sure they don't stuff up your experiment. Now, there's two ways you can do this. First of all, elimination. If you can remove it from the area, get rid of it. Think of Dennis the Menace. If you're trying to do this experiment and there's little kids running around and they're going to knock into everything and destroy it, that is definitely going to affect your measurements. Get rid of it. If you can eliminate it, great. But most things you can't eliminate. So we have to go to the next point here. Give it a standard value. Have the same amount of everything that's going to affect it. The same amount of detergent, the same heat or temperature in the water, the same amount or type of scrubbing. That's a really hard one to actually do in a method, but you'll figure it out. The same amount of oil to start with. All of these things can be given a standard value, and you actually have to write that into your method so that every person doing that experiment does it exactly the same.